Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Fulkowski filling in for Mr. Trokin. Today, we're going to be looking briefly at the theme of 3.313, that the country expanded, people moved west, and there were problems, to put it in very simplistic terms. And of course, we're going to eventually see the idea of manifest destiny, although this term won't be coined until a little bit later. It's really developing, and that starts as early as 1763, when you have the Proclamation of 1763 put into place, and the colonists are told they cannot go west, but you already begin to see them ignore that. And of course, the British didn't really have any means of really enforcing that. And then by the end of the American Revolutionary War, with the Treaty of Paris, we will see that the border will expand further west for the United States, so it won't be just confined to the 13 colonies. And then, of course, we dealt with the Jay's Treaty in 1794, which eventually removed the British from the Northwest Territory, which was sort of the focus of a lot of colonists, and we know that there were a lot of states that had placed claims there in this area. And then we have Pinckney's Treaty in 1795, where we see borders even being moved with Spain toward the southwest. So all of these events so far are pointing towards westward expansion, and in many different ways it's going to confirm this for colonists. And are they going to just want to simply stop at the Mississippi River? You're going to see that, of course, being no. You're going to see that idea that they should eventually expand the borders of the United States from the Atlantic to the Pacific. So again, just looking at some maps here where the United States is developing, you have disputed territory down here with Spain, but certainly you do have other countries on the North American continent. You have Great Britain to the north, you have Spain to the west as well as the south. Eventually you'll have the French come about. Of course, they are expelled following the French and Indian War, but they will eventually make a reappearance, if you will. And then, of course, you see a better look here of the northern frontier. Of course, many Native American tribes scattered throughout this region here. And a look further south, of course, with Pinckney's Treaty, as again, we're going to see the borders really in the south begin to shift toward the United States, and eventually the United States will expand into that territory. But of course, conflicts are going to arise with the Native Americans. In particular, the Conestoga Massacre will occur as early as 1763 with the Paxton Boys, which comprised of Scottish-Irish Presbyterians that viewed the Native Americans very much as expendable, and some even call this almost an ethnic genocide, if you will, because they were in the way. And as a result, as you see in this depiction down here in the bottom right-hand corner, the Paxton Boys essentially killing the Native Americans. And they saw basically the United States as a haven for European Christians where they should expand. But at the end of the day, the Conestoga Indians are brutally massacred, and they were going to continue. They actually marched down to Philadelphia to grieve sort of the fact that the Native Americans were in the way, and they eventually agreed to end their massacre, but it's at the expense of the Conestoga Native Americans. So again, sort of as the United States tries to expand west, there are going to be conflicts with the Native Americans that are just simply inevitable. Another issue that's going to occur in 1787, right before states are sending their delegates to the Constitutional Convention, is Shays' Rebellion. And really what this is going to show is the weakness of the Articles of Confederation, that very loose framework some even call America's first Constitution. So it's led by a former general of the American Revolutionary War, and his name is Daniel Shay, hence Shays' Rebellion. And Shay is a debt-ridden farmer, and many other farmers are going to basically join his cause as they're in the midst of an economic depression. Farms are being lost by them, and at the same time they're paying high taxes. And farmers are seeing what this is basically being, they're being oppressed by the elites, that these taxes aren't going to help them at all. They're not receiving anything in return for this, as again, many are losing their farms. So again, they're going to rise up. And the main idea here is that there is no lack of authority from the central government, as you have basically anarchy happening in Massachusetts and throughout New England, but it was mainly concentrated in western Massachusetts. You don't see the central government being able to put it down, because remember, this is done by the state militia, and the central government is unable to corral and basically suppress the rebellion. And this very much amplifies many people's thoughts throughout the colonies that indeed we need a new constitution, and that's what's going to ultimately be a major catalyst in the framing of the new constitution. So a very pivotal moment here in American history as we segue from the Articles of Confederation to a new constitution. But the main idea again is America's western expansion. Big trend here that we will see that the United States will expand from the Atlantic out to the Mississippi, and then eventually out to the Pacific Ocean as we get into the 1800s, and eventually fulfilling the idea of manifest destiny. And a lot of this is done through legal means, through things like the Louisiana Purchase, but also you have to keep in mind that it's going to be done through battles and wars, as we will certainly see with Native Americans, also with Mexico as well. So a lot to come in this specific topic. Okay, thank you very much.